Why AI will increase inequality. Season 3, AI and Money. Episode 2. Introduction. The future is not automatically fair. Artificial intelligence is often described as a tool that will make society more efficient. Faster work. Cheaper services. More productivity. More abundance. That sounds like progress. But efficiency does not automatically create fairness. A society can become more productive while becoming more unequal. In fact, that is a familiar pattern in economic history. When a powerful technology enters the economy, it usually creates winners and losers. It raises the value of some skills, lowers the value of others, and shifts bargaining power toward those who own the technology. AI is not an exception. AI is a multiplier. It multiplies productivity, and it multiplies power. So this episode focuses on a central claim. AI is likely to increase inequality unless something interrupts the default path. Not because inequality is inevitable, but because the incentives in the current system push in that direction. We will unpack what inequality means, how AI changes income and wealth distribution, and why small changes can compound into large gaps over time. 2. What we mean by inequality. Inequality is not one thing. It appears in multiple layers. 1. Income inequality, differences in wages and salaries. 2. Wealth inequality, differences in assets and ownership. 3. Opportunity inequality, differences in access to education, networks, and mobility. 4. Geographic inequality, differences between regions and countries. 5. Power inequality, differences in who can influence systems and decisions. AI can touch all of these. Sometimes AI can reduce inequality in a narrow area while increasing it overall. For example, AI tools might help a lower-performing worker improve their output, which could narrow performance gaps inside a job. At the same time, AI can increase wealth inequality by raising returns to capital, concentrating profit among owners. So when we say AI will increase inequality, we mean the overall balance of power, wealth, and security is likely to tilt upward unless governed differently. 3. The simple reason, AI rewards ownership. In market economies, productivity gains do not distribute themselves. They flow through ownership. If a company adopts AI and becomes more productive, the value created can go to workers through higher wages and better conditions, consumers through lower prices and better services, owners through higher profits and higher asset values. Which one happens depends on bargaining power and rules. In the modern economy, ownership is often stronger than labor. That means AI-driven productivity is likely to show up first as profit. Profits raise asset values. Asset values increase wealth inequality. This is the basic engine. AI increases the value of capital, and capital ownership is already unequal. 4. Capital versus labor, the shift that matters. AI affects inequality through the relationship between capital and labor. Labor is human time and effort. Capital is equipment, infrastructure, software, data systems, and ownership of production. AI behaves like capital. It is expensive to build, but cheap to scale. Once deployed, it can perform tasks repeatedly without fatigue, without negotiation, and with marginal cost close to zero. That changes the economic balance. When capital can do more tasks that labor used to do, labor loses leverage. Even if workers remain employed, the threat of replacement changes negotiations. Wages become harder to increase. Work becomes more monitored and optimized. The value created by productivity improvements is captured by the owner of the system. This shifts the economy toward capital income. And capital income is concentrated among the already wealthy. 5. Why wealth inequality is the biggest story. Most people focus on wages. But the deeper inequality is wealth. Wealth is what generates security and freedom. Wealth buys time. Wealth buys access. Wealth survives crises. Wealth compounds. AI tends to increase wealth inequality because it increases returns to scalable assets. A factory can scale output with machines. A software platform can scale with code. An AI system can scale with models. The owner of an AI system can capture value from millions of users without employing millions of workers. This is a major shift. As AI systems become more capable, ownership becomes more powerful than employment. That increases wealth inequality even if wages do not collapse. 6. The productivity paradox: more output, fewer benefits. AI can create more output with fewer workers. That sounds like liberation. But in market systems, fewer workers needed can mean fewer workers paid. If productivity increases without changes in distribution, the gains flow to profits rather than wages. This is where you can see a strange paradox. An economy becomes more productive, yet many people feel poorer. AI can accelerate that paradox. Not because productivity is bad, but because distribution is not automatic. 7. Skill bias: AI is a raise for some and a cut for others. AI changes the value of skills. It tends to complement some workers while substituting for others. Workers who can use AI to amplify their output may become more valuable. Workers whose tasks are easily automated may see their bargaining power decline. This can create wage polarization. Higher pay for workers who manage complex systems, design strategy, or oversee AI tools. Lower pay and fewer opportunities for workers whose work can be standardized, monitored, or replaced. Even in fields where AI does not replace jobs, it can change the wage structure. If AI makes a top performer even more productive, that worker may capture more value. If AI reduces the need for mid-level routine work, the middle of the labor market shrinks. This expands inequality inside industries. 8. The best worker effect. AI tools often encode best practices. They standardize high-quality outputs. This can narrow differences between workers inside a specific role, because lower-performing workers can copy the structure of higher-performing work. That sounds equalizing. But there is another effect. If AI raises baseline performance, employers may raise expectations. What was once exceptional becomes required. Workers who cannot adapt may be pushed out. Those who adapt become the new normal. This creates inequality between those who can effectively use AI tools and those who cannot. And the gap is not just talent. It includes access. Access to training. Access to equipment. Access to stable time. Access to support. Skill gaps become access gaps. Access gaps become income gaps. 9. AI and management control, the metric economy. AI makes management more powerful. It can measure more. It can monitor more. It can score more. This expands a form of inequality that is often ignored. Control inequality. When workers are monitored and evaluated by automated systems, bargaining power shifts further toward employers. Work becomes measurable. The measurable becomes mandatory. The unmeasurable becomes invisible. This leads to pressure. It can also lead to wage suppression because performance becomes a continuous competition. If the system can always find someone slightly more productive, wages become a race to the bottom. AI does not need to replace workers to weaken them. It only needs to increase the power of those who set metrics. 10. The platform effect: winners take most. AI strengthens platforms. Platforms concentrate users. Users generate data. Data improves AI. AI improves the platform. This feedback loop creates winner-take-most markets. In a winner-take-most market, a small number of firms capture most profits. This increases inequality in the business world. It also increases inequality in society, because those profits flow to owners and investors. AI does not create platform dominance, but it strengthens it. The stronger the platform, the more it can shape markets. The more it can shape markets, the more it can capture value. 11. Price discrimination and personalized extraction. AI enables personalized pricing and personalized persuasion. Instead of one price for everyone, companies can estimate willingness to pay. Instead of one advertisement, they can target vulnerabilities. This expands inequality because it changes how consumers are treated. Those with less knowledge and less bargaining power can be extracted more efficiently. The market becomes less transparent. The strongest negotiator is the system that knows the most. AI makes that system stronger. This is not only about rich versus poor. It is also about informed versus uninformed. Protected versus unprotected. Organized versus isolated. 12. Why AI increases inequality between firms. Large firms have advantages we have already discussed. Data. Compute. Distribution. Compliance capacity. When AI adoption spreads, large firms can capture more of the gains. Smaller firms may adopt AI tools too, but they often rent capabilities rather than own them. This creates another layer of inequality. Ownership inequality between firms. Large firms own the infrastructure. Smaller firms pay for access. Over time, rent flows upward. AI becomes a channel through which value moves from smaller actors to larger ones. That increases concentration in the economy. And concentration increases inequality. 13. Inequality between countries, the global gap. AI can widen inequality between countries. Countries with capital, infrastructure, stable institutions, and high-skilled labor can adopt AI faster. They can build and deploy models. They can integrate AI into industries. They can capture productivity gains. Countries with weaker infrastructure may lag. Even if AI tools become accessible, adoption depends on connectivity, education, governance, and investment. This can reverse convergence. Instead of poor countries catching up, the gap can widen. The global economy becomes more unequal. Not because AI is evil, but because it scales advantage. AI is not only software. It depends on physical resources. Hardware supply chains. Energy consumption. Data center construction. Specialized chips. These resources are concentrated. Countries and corporations that control these resources gain leverage. This creates geopolitical inequality. Access to compute becomes a form of national power. AI makes that more important. 15. Education and training, WHO gets to adapt. Adaptation is not evenly distributed. Some workers have time to learn. Some have stable schedules. Some have supportive employers. Some have access to equipment and training. Others do not. AI increases inequality by creating a new divide. Those who can adapt quickly gain advantage. Those who cannot fall behind. This is not simply a matter of motivation. It is a matter of structure. If you are working multiple jobs, you have less time to reskill. If you lack stable internet, learning tools are limited. If your employer uses AI to monitor rather than train, the pressure increases. This creates a social inequality, not just a technical one. People think inequality happens only if jobs disappear. But AI can increase inequality even when jobs remain. By degrading jobs, tasks become fragmented. Work becomes more routine. Judgment becomes less valued. Workers become operators of systems rather than owners of skills. If AI takes the most rewarding part of the work and leaves humans with the leftovers, the job remains but the quality declines. Lower job quality often means lower pay and less mobility. This increases inequality across occupational ladders. 17. The new middle problem. Many economies rely on a middle class. Jobs that are stable, decent, and not elite. AI threatens parts of this middle. Not necessarily by eliminating all middle jobs, but by automating the routine components that made those jobs scalable. If entry and mid-level knowledge work becomes easier to automate, fewer people get the stepping stone roles that lead to senior positions. This creates a funnel. At the top, high-level roles remain. At the bottom, service and physical roles remain. The middle becomes thinner. A thinner middle means more inequality. 18. Institutional inequality, WHO gets protected. When disruption arrives, protection matters. Strong labor protections. Active training systems. Safety nets. Antitrust enforcement. Public investment. Different societies respond differently. AI will not have one effect everywhere. Where institutions protect workers and share gains, inequality may rise less. Where institutions are weak, inequality rises more. But the default market path, without policy, tends toward concentration. Because AI rewards scale, ownership, and capital. 19. The productivity promise, and why it is not enough. Some people argue AI will create so much productivity that everyone benefits. That could happen. But there is no guarantee. Productivity is a capacity. Distribution is a choice. If AI creates abundance, the question becomes, who controls the abundance? If control remains concentrated, abundance can coexist with inequality. A society can be richer and more divided at the same time. This is why the conversation must include ownership and governance, not just innovation. 20. What would have to change to prevent it? If we want AI not to increase inequality, several things would need to change. 1. Broader ownership of AI gains, through profit sharing or new ownership models. 2. Stronger bargaining power for workers, including protections against surveillance and de-skilling. 3. Public investment in training and transition systems. 4. Rules that limit abusive data extraction and personalized manipulation. 5. Competition policy that prevents monopoly consolidation. 6. International cooperation so poorer countries can adopt AI without dependency traps. These are governance choices. Without them, the default incentives continue. 21. Core takeaway. AI is likely to increase inequality because it amplifies the power of ownership, scale, and prediction. It shifts value toward capital. It increases the bargaining power of employers and platforms. It creates new divides in skills and access. It strengthens winners take most markets. And it can widen gaps between countries. AI does not guarantee inequality, but it pushes strongly in that direction unless society actively redirects it. If this episode helped you understand why AI is likely to increase inequality, like this video so more people can see it. Share it with someone who believes productivity automatically benefits everyone. And subscribe to Uncovering Facts for clear, hype-free explanations of technology, power, work, and money. Next episode, how AI changes the meaning of work.